Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Okay, sorry, I had to hit the magic button. This is awesome. This is amazing. We have an incredible show for you today. So this is a spinoff from our Indie Creator Spotlight. We're chopping the indie off because our guest is so big we can't contain it in indie. But as always, my friend Patrick, how's it going?
Oh, I am very excited about this. I have a very appropriate shirt. You can see my background on this side. Should give you a little bit of a hint or a preview of what we're going to be talking about today. I'm very excited for this guest.
Totally. I moved my you can see him over there. Well, anyway, Philip.
Hey, how's it going, Leo? I have something right here, but yes,
nice.
Yeah, it's good to see you folks. I'm glad to be here and wouldn't miss this for anything. We pushed back our maple syrup house tour later into the day because of this. So here we go.
Awesome. Well, Patsy, would you like to introduce our most awesome guest today?
I would. Today we are going to be chatting with someone from one of the most iconic films of all time, one of my favorite films. As you can, again, I'm still bad at pointing things out. One of the greatest films, and the real hero. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Why I think that. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 1975 first ever summer blockbuster Jaws, Mr. Jeff Voorhees, Alex Kintner himself. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Well, I'm still here on Amity Island, the dead Alex Kintner. It's 45 years now since I died. It was the anniversary last year.
Well, let's kind of get into this because, like I said, I believe Alex Kintner is the real hero of the story, heroically giving his own life to finally convince the mayor and the higher ups who controlled everything that was going on in the island, finally giving Brody the go-ahead to
Hire Quint.
Yeah, to go hire Quint after, there was no denying that there was a shark. There was no denying that it was a danger, and so we thank you for your sacrifice.
Well, 45 years I've been dead, so.
Now, what was it like as a 12, 13-year-old kid filming that scene, knowing that it was going to be such a traumatic experience for the characters in the film?
Well, it's funny because here on Amity Island, Martha's Vineyard up in New England off of Cape Cod, we had just moved up here that year. So the year they were filming Jaws, just moved up to Martha's Vineyard from Connecticut. That's why I'm a Yankees fan. But so basically, we just moved up here, and then they said, hey, they're making a movie. They need a lot of extras. They'll pay you $40 a day to be in it. And we were just little kids, 12 years old, just moved here. And it's a small island. So, the one hotel is open year round. We all went down, it's a 5-minute walk from where we're living, and signed up to be extras in the movie. $40 a day when you're 12. That's great. So we all signed up, and it was funny. And then like a week or so later, they called a few people back and said, read a line. So you're reading a couple sheets of paper, and they go, oh, we're going to give you a speaking part. You get $140 a day. It's like, oh, that's pretty good. So from then on, it's a small little island, and the deal with them was they had to have it done. Down here, this island's a madhouse in the summer, even back then. So basically, they were telling Spielberg and everyone doing the movie that they had to have it done before Memorial Day weekend. That's when this season starts down here. And so when you're watching the movie, the funny part is this island with the cold water, the leaves don't really turn green until around Memorial Day. So this is supposed to be a summertime, and you look at the trees, it's like, wait, there's no leaves on some of those trees, or little things like that. It's funny. But, from filming it, that scene, they started bringing all the cameras. You would see Brody and all those guys all over the place. It's a small little island. And then when there was, one area of the island out on the other side, it's called Chilmark. And that's where the boat comes in, the orca and everything. And you see that where the boat will pull in the jetty. That's where they did a lot of those scenes because it's deeper water and it's not too many beaches out there. So you didn't see that part because you're a 12-year-old kid back then. But all the other scenes, a lot of it's done in Edgartown here and it's a small island. So you just like where they had the shark hanging up, it's just down the street. And they drove that thing all the way up from Florida. So people, oh, so you saw the shark. No, you could smell that shark from the school. Back in the 70s, they didn't put it on ice and fly it up. They had it in the back of a truck. And so it stunk so bad. But my scene, that whole thing, it started off, Spielberg. He was like, it's called, where the shark swims through the bridge. They call it the Jaws Bridge now, and everyone jumps off that bridge. And that's where my scene was. And a little further down the beach towards the Oak Bluff side, that's where it all starts. That's where Pippet, the black lab, and the girl's, her name's Susan. She dies before me. Mm-hmm. And so basically, mine was right near the Edgartown Oak Bluffs Bridge. If you look at a map, there's a bridge that divides the two towns, and I'm on the Oak Bluff side. And it was funny. You go down there, and you see all those nice little beach houses and stuff, and it's like, and if you know the island, there's no beach houses down there. And then you go on the other side of the beach houses, it was like plywood with 2x4s holding them up. And that was where my scene was all starting. And so everyone in that scene, everyone. It's like my brother's a little kid that's running in, the sheriff's kids. He was a good friend, Chris Rebello, the older kid. And that's where Spielberg was like saying, okay, this is where you're going to go up to your mother, ask her to go back in the water, and she's going to say no, beg her, and then finally she'll let you go back in. And so, and then in the water, there was like a round barrel. You couldn't see it because it was like right at the top of the water line. It's the size of a big barrel. And he goes, you're going to swim out to this thing on the raft. It was like 20 yards out. And when you get near it, we'll say cut. And, this thing is full of blood. And so you're 12 years old, freezing cold, swimming out. And so people are like, well, you're afraid of the shark. And they filmed this in May, and this water is freezing cold in May. And so people are like, were you afraid of the shark? No, I was afraid of freezing my 12-year-old butt off. I'm not sure if I can say ASS on this, but.
Oh, you can.
Go for it.
12-year-old ass off in that water. But so the first time we try it, everyone on the beach. That's where everyone's running around. And so basically her name was Lee Farrow. She was a sweetie, my mother. She was from the island. And I asked her if I go back in, and your fingers are prone. And finally, she lets me go back in, unfortunately, because that's when you start hearing dun dun. And when you hear that, you're in trouble. But so basically, you swim out on this little raft, and then Spielberg says cut. And then you get near this machine that's full of blood. And he said, now we have a half a raft. It looked real. They pull it over this machine full of blood. And he goes, you're going to lie on top of it now. And then we'll start rolling the camera again. And when it's going to explode. And when it explodes, blood's going to go flying up in the air, go into water, and stay under there as long as you can. And right behind me, there was like a machine. You can see the fins in the movie around me. And that it's like a wheel with the fins. That would spin around right when this machine blew the blood up in the air. And he said, go into water, stay under there as long as you can when that happens. It's like, okay, so freezing your ass off, lying on top of this thing, it's about to explode, and then bam, blood's flying up everywhere. And friggin' go into water quickly, hold your breath, and 12 years old, freezing cold, just got sprayed with blood everywhere. And then I finally swim ashore, freezing cold, and go to Spielberg. Okay, we all set? And he's like, no, your leg came out of the water. We're going to have to try it again. And it would take like 7 or 8 hours for all that blood to clear out of the water before they could try it again. So you're freezing cold. Since I had a speaking part, I had to join SAG, Screen Actors Guild. And since I was part of the union, I would screw up, and I go into a nice little warm dressing room, what they had on the beach down there. All my friends were freezing their little asses off outside because I screwed up. And they would have to wait out there for hours while all this blood cleared out of the water, and then we try it again. And, me screwing up, I'm nice and warm inside, and they're outside freezing. So we try it again. The second time, bam, blood's flying up. Wasn't too afraid because you're ready for the shark. The blood that time. And then this time, no, your arm came out of the water. It was just like it started with 1 day, then it went to 2 days. And it's just like the whole movie. They were spending too much money. They weren't even sure if it was going to come out because things were taking so long. And like day 3, day 4 of my scene, that one little scene, I'm only in it for a little bit. And then day 5, Spielberg's finally said, okay, this time we have 2 guys in wetsuits. They're going to be under the water. And when that thing blows up, they're going to lift you up and down a few times and then pull you under and give you air. And that's where, if you see the movie, you see me going up and down. It's 2 guys holding one leg, lifting me in and out of the water, and then
that's awesome.
Underwater and give you. So we finally got it on that try 5 days later.
Yeah, but you made $700 doing it that way.
I didn't want to kind of mention that I was letting my arm out on purpose. Get $4.
$140 a day when you're 12. Also in 1974, that's also
No, and there were other lots of little scenes that, if you remember the little parade, I had just moved down the island and I was in the little drum and bugle thing, and Spielberg wasn't going to let me be in that scene because I die in the movie. And
makes sense.
Then he's like, well, wait a minute, you're still alive in that for that. So he let me be in that. So if you see a little kid banging on the drums with long hair, as you can see now, there's not much hair, but little kid banging on drums, I'm in that scene too. So that was fun, just little things like that. But filming it was fun because, it's one of Spielberg's first movies, and they would have barbecues and cookouts and stuff. And then,
so nice.
You'd be down there playing baseball with Richard Dreyfuss and those guys.
Oh, wow.
And then also you look far away from everyone, and it's Robert Shaw sitting over there. And that was it's a small island, and you can't hide on this island. So you run over, there's Robert Shaw. We run over to him, bunch of 12-year-old kids, and he was not happy. You get near him, you can smell the booze. This is like 1 in the afternoon.
That's true.
And like, hey, how's it going? You're just all excited to see him, and he's like, get away from me, you little shit. And he thought the movie, and we knew it pissed him off. And it's a small island, so you see him coming out of the hotel where he was staying, or you see him walking down the street. You had to run up just to piss him off and just say, how's it going? But just lots of little things like that. Or it's a small island, so in that town, Edgartown, where a lot of the scenes filmed, there's a yacht club in the harbor right over here outside the window, and that's where they have a warehouse where they store a lot of their floating docks and stuff. It's just up the street from here, and that's where they leased it out. The shark's name was Bruce, and they kept Bruce in there when they weren't using it. And the Bruce, the left side, the right side, and the top looked real, and then because it was 3 different sharks, and you look on the other side of the left side that looked like a shark, it was all mechanics. And we were little kids, and this is back in the 70s before they had cameras everywhere. And so 8 o'clock, it's dark. Let's go check out the shark. And you just go break into that you slide up, go in. We used to climb all over that shark and, wiggling the teeth. And it was funny because 2 years ago, there was a shark tournament down in Florida. Field and Stream, the magazine, they said, we want 2 people that were eaten by a shark to do a signing. So Susan, the girl that dies before me, she went down for it too. She lives in California. And they fly you down there, they pick you up at the airport, and you just sign photos. And they also, the person that developed the shark, he was down at this thing too. And at the one in Florida, they give you microphones and people ask questions. And so he was talking about the shark and how it broke down so much. And, the movie was taking longer, and it was costing more and more. And they were almost about to throw the towel in on the whole thing. And he said, yeah, we'd be filming the shark, and all of a sudden it would break down. And then when I got the microphone, after he was talking about the shark breaking down a lot, I was like, okay, I was only 12 years old, but I got to tell the truth. Maybe it broke down because we used to break in and climb all over that thing at night time. It looked like it would kill me. It's like, this little guy's like looking at me like, oh, so maybe this is why it was breaking down. These little shits are climbing all over it. It's like,
that's amazing.
Just lots of. So when they're filming it, you just go down and watch all the scenes. If you weren't in it, you go watch it. But if you know Martha's Vineyard at all, where they filmed my scene, or a lot of it in Edgartown, Oak Bluffs, it's called State Beach, and that bridge, they call it the Jaws Bridge now because a lot of people jump off of that all summer. And if you go in around the corner, they call it the bend in the road. It's a hard turn, and then you're in Edgartown. And in the movie, you take that hard turn, and then all of a sudden it says, welcome to Amity, and you're on the other side of the island, all the way, it's like 40 miles away, get ahead. And that's where that sign was. So if you knew the island at all, it's funny watching it because, wait, you're going, that parade is going the wrong way up a street, and just little things like that.
Too funny. Hey, I have a question for you. I know Jaws lost to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Milos Forman beat out Spielberg. So I was curious if you guys all had like an Oscar party, even back in those days. Did they even have Oscar parties or viewing of the Oscars on TV?
They really didn't. Back then, this is before the internet and stuff. And, so basically, we went and watched it in a movie theater on the island and then on TV and stuff. But I really didn't start talking to all these people. And, I went into hiding, should I say, for a while on Jaws because this island's small and you get crazy Jaws people coming down year round for getting something signed. And so for years, I would just, people would come in, oh, where is that? And somebody that wants to get even, they go, that's him right over there. And I'm in the movie for 1 or 2 minutes, and you get some Jaws fanatics that will come down and they would have rafts or something for me to sign. But about 10 years ago, I finally said, they kept asking me to go do these signings. They fly you over to England or Germany. Last year I was supposed to be in England because it was the 45th anniversary. And they said, it's the 45th anniversary. So they had Dreyfus, Susan, the girl that dies. They had 5 people doing the one in England. And they canceled them all with the corona. And the people that run it, it's funny. They know every little thing about Jaws. And, they'll fly you wherever. They have all the photos. You just sign the pictures. And at some of those signings, it's crazy because the one in England, when they canceled it, the people that run it, they go, the next big one will be the 50th anniversary. And they kind of laugh. They go, you're one of the first ones to die in the movie. And there's only 7 people left, I guess, in the movie now still alive. They know all the details. And they go, on the 50th anniversary, you're one of the first ones to die in the movie. And you might be the only one still around. It's like,
oh, no.
Jesus.
But some of those sightings are crazy. You get Jaws, the one in New York. It's this is where Robert Wagner, there's over 100, Loretta Swift, they have real actors and stuff. And then the ladies from Friday the 13th, I've seen them, the people I do the signings with, they do on Halloween. And they're like, you get more people over at that damn table than we do. And you're in the movie for 1 minute. And I just laugh. They just always think it's funny because everyone wants to go see the dead Alex Kintner.
Well, it sounds like you kind of got a little bit of karmic retribution for how you guys used to treat Robert Shaw, where you wanted to be left alone and everybody was coming over and hounding you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's crazy because at some of those signings, you get to some of those and some people bring in posters, sign them. One guy had the barrel, that big yellow barrel that goes in. It was signed by everyone but me. He's like, you're the last one that hasn't signed it. And so I'm ending up signing the guy's barrel. And then he's like, you're going to go put that back in your car now. He's like, no, someone will steal it. So he's carrying it around the whole day. Another guy comes up with a combination briefcase. He opens it up and he had 6 pieces of the raft that float up on the beach after I die.
Oh, wow.
Wanted each one signed.
That's nuts.
And then other people made Jaws coins, or they had little. It's this one girl. She's like, she comes up. Oh, can you sign right under the collarbone? And she's like, I go, what? She goes, sign right under the collarbone. And it's like, okay, but it's just going to come off in a couple of days. She's like, no, I'm meeting up with Peter later. He's tattooing over it. It's like,
My wife did that with Patrice Bergeron.
Oh, there you go, Bergeron. I am a Bruins fan.
Well, if you take a look behind me, right up here, at the signed Team Canada jersey,
number 37.
Yeah.
Well, here in Boston, I am a Bruins fan. I came up from New York, and so I'm a Yankees fan. Came up from Connecticut. But
whereabouts in Connecticut?
Excuse me?
Whereabouts in Connecticut?
Oh, Greenwich, Westport, Darien, Bridge, all the way up.
Okay.
We finally headed up here.
Yeah, I'm over in the Mystic area.
Yeah, I just drove down to Danbury, right near the border to pick up a puppy.
Oh,
one of our listeners today is actually from Danbury. That's watching this right now.
nice.
Chrissy is out there watching.
As a little kid at the Danbury State Fair, it's like.
Yeah. What kind of puppy did you get?
It's a Saint. This one's a Saint Bernard. She's got her at 20 pounds, and she's been on the island since the end of January. She's like 40 pounds now. It's getting heavy.
Wow.
Are you considered a local or not? Because you weren't born there, just like they say in the movie.
Oh, well, that's the whole thing. They're saying, oh, you have to be born on the island to be an islander. And I've been here since I was 12. Well, even though I died the first year I got here, but. I always say, yeah, I was born on the island, and I don't mention Long Island because born in New York.
But I mean, technically, it's true.
Yeah, I was born on an island, the island. But it's funny because I am a Bruins fan. When you were saying Bergeron, and Rick Middleton, they have a bunch of these players that come down and skate here in the winter, and he was in the bar in the restaurant, and there's a bunch of Jaws stuff on the walls, pictures of me dying and stuff. And he was looking at it, goes, God damn, is that guy ever around here? And the bartender, she goes, that's him right there. And he was like, if you sign one of those Jaws t-shirts, because it says the Kintner boys still alive at the Wharf. And he goes, if you sign one of those shirts, I'll get you a Bruins with Bobby Orr. And I go, oh, okay. And
Jesus.
I actually did get the shirt. But he was so psyched because there's a picture of him holding it up. It says, to Rick from the dead there, and I'm still alive on Amity Island. But the person that made these damn shirts up, he did it like years ago. And the front will say the Wharf Pub, and the back it's the Kintner boys still alive at the Wharf. And it was a kid on the raft with the whole Jaws thing underneath. And then he redid it. He goes, I updated it because we haven't had it in years. And he goes, and it's a kid on the raft. He goes, this one. The kid on the raft doesn't have much hair. I go, oh, that looks more like it. Because this time I'm going to put it on Facebook. I go, if you put that damn thing on Facebook, fall and mailing stuff takes forever. I go, I'll sign those damn shirts, but I'm not going to go mail them. Oh, I'll do it. Don't worry. So he put it on there. And then the first day, it's like, people get the shirt and then pay $15 extra for the signature. And the first day, it's like 4 in England, 3 in Denmark, 1 in Germany.
That's awesome.
It's like, you go mail them now. Have fun. I'll sign the shirts.
Yeah, mail them to Europe.
So speaking of shirts, and thanks, Ben, for reminding me. I almost forgot to mention the show notes. We have a bunch of information about Jeffrey in the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. So he has a cameo, which we have the link there as well. Also, the Wharf Pub. Definitely check that out. And I saw somebody put a note that if they give and let me know if this is true or not, if they call the Wharf Pub to order a shirt, you'd send it out?
Yeah, it's like people come down. They did that. That's why I got on Cameo too, because people they come now with the internet. People know exactly where you live, where you work. And these people from England a couple of years ago, they came all the way over because they wanted to see where they filmed Jaws, and they knew I was there. And they're like, he's not even on the island today. And so they finally got me to get on Cameo, and we'll mail out the shirts because people were, he's not here. And it's like, but you get, it's fun doing it. It's like the cameos. I had 3 of them today. You get some odd ones because like one time it's like, oh, our son's a big Jaws fan. Can you wish him a happy birthday? He's going to be 1 on Saturday. It's like, wait.
Yeah, he's a huge fan. It's not for them.
But it was like, oh, Diane, my good friend, he has a Jaws party every summer, and we go to this every summer, and I'm getting married, and she's a big Alex Kintner fan. I'm in the movie for a minute, and
yeah.
Can you ask her to be in my wedding, be a bridesmaid, and maybe she'll bring you with? It's like, oh my God. So I'm down. They like it because I go down to the beach where I was eating and say, hey, from the dead Alex Kintner, here we are on Amity Island. But the funny one was this one guy, it's like, our father was a big Jaws fan, because you get it on your phone. They request what you say. And it's like, he was a big Jaws fan, and he died watching the movie on the couch. And can you send your... And it's like, what the hell? And it's like, I was talking to the people in Chicago that run it, and they're like, you don't have to reply to all of them. It's like, why not? So, because I run my dogs down on the beach where I was eating. And so I'm standing down near the bridge where the shark goes through. I go, so your father and I had a little something in common. He died watching me die. We both died with Jaws. And then I go on, he was a big Jaws fan. I was eaten by the shark. He died watching me get eaten. And then at the end, 5 stars. Thank you so much. It's like, oh my God. But you get some real.
To my wife, Alan.
I know Phil had a couple questions, but also we had some questions in the comments. And Patsy, I want to make sure, since you're the biggest Jaws fan of us all, definitely get him in there. But RW had a question, and I know you told me the story. Did you want to ask that question?
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that this was actually substantiated. I mean, I know that everything that's on the internet is 100% true, but there was a story that I heard that several years ago, Lee Fierro came into your restaurant and was looking at the menu and was like, oh, there's an Alex Kintner sandwich or whatever it happened to be. I was in that movie. I played Alex Kintner's mom, and you were there and you were like, yeah, that was me. Is that a true story?
No, it's better than that, because she was a sweetie. She just, unfortunately, end of last year, the corona got her. And like, I've done interviews with her on Good Morning America. I got her to slap me in the face, because she won't do that in the movies anymore. I mean, the fans would always ask her to slap him in the face. But because like on Good Morning America, I was like, come on, Mom, slap me in the face. And the guy behind the camera is shaking his head, yes. And she goes, because she said she did it for 10 years. People say, will you slap me in the face? And she goes, I won't do it anymore. It's like, come on, you were my mother in the movie. Do it once. And she tapped me once. And I go, no, like in the movie, she got me good. And then the guy that's running it on Good Morning America is like, we only got 2 minutes. They probably won't let us put that on, but it will be on the internet. But she was nice. But one time when she did come in the restaurant, I looked out. It's like, holy shit, that's Lee Fierro. She lived on the island, but I had not seen her in years. And I told the waitress, I got this table. And I went over to be the waiter. And I got over, and she recognized me but didn't say anything. And her friend had no idea. I didn't know who her friend was. And there were like 2 other tables. It was in the spring, so it's not too many people. And I go over, okay, ladies, what can I get for you? And she knew it was me. And then I go, but before I go any further, I'm going to ask you a very personal, strange question. Tell me to go away if it's too odd. And she's like, what? And I go, do you believe in reincarnation? Because I think I died years ago, and you look like my mother in my previous life. And like, she looks at me, and then her friends look at me like I'm crazy. And another table's like, she's like, oh my God, I had a son that died back in the 70s. And her friend looks at her, then like, what the hell? Another table looks at her, and she goes, how'd you die? I go, it was in the ocean. She goes, were you killed? I go, I think I was eaten. She goes, was it a shark? And I go, I think it was. And she goes, my God, you're my son. And she gets up and hugs me. And then her friend looks like she was about to have a heart attack. And
oh, that is the best. That is so much better.
We were in that movie together years ago. And it was good to see her. It's like, I thought her friend was going to like fall over dead. It's like she's hugging some guy that says, I'm your son.
That's amazing. That is so much better than the story I saw online. Oh my God. That's amazing.
But like you get a lot of crazy things in the restaurant because over the years with the internet, like if the TV, let's say they show Jaws on TV, you get a check still. And, now they're not much. Like my brother lived over in Spain and he was like, good news, you just died on TV over here. And you get a check from Europe, it will say 5 times in Germany, 4 times in Denmark. And you get to the bottom, it's $3 and then taxes, union dues and all that. It's like 83 cents. If it's a, TNT, they play all summer long. So you get a check for 100 here, 100 there. And the top part of the check, it says Universal Studios, your name, the amount, and you sign that, cash it. The other half you throw away. The half you throw away is pretty big. It will say Universal Studios, episode Jaws, and it will say what network, CBS. And then it will say, how much the check was, union dues, taxes, my name's on it because, all the Social Security, the last 4 numbers, and something I throw in the trash. And then these people in the restaurant, the waitress, like, they got something they want you to sign. It was in a frame. I was like, is it a picture of me dying? Because a lot of people bring those in. And I go over and I look at it. It says something I throw in the trash. It's like Jaws, Universal Studios, CBS, 1981, Jeff Voorhees. And then it says the taxes, Social Security, all that. Something I threw away. I was like, what the hell? I go, where the hell did you get this? Something I threw in the trash back in the 80s. She's like, oh, on eBay on an auction. I'm like, how much did you pay for something I threw away back in the 80s? She's like, oh, we got it for $8,700. It's like, oh. So I don't throw those things away anymore. It's
jeez. How to put them up on eBay yourself so you collect that money.
Well, no, because like last week there was on Cameo, there's this thing where they set up, you can have a group thing and they pay you extra money. And this Jaws, the Amity Jaws Club, it's called, they got to 10,000 people in their club. And they're all over Europe and over here. And the people, they're like, we want to talk to you and ask you questions about Jaws because we got up to 10,000. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll mail you up some photos because last year I was up in Toronto. They canceled all these signings. And I don't bring any photos. And the people that run it, the one guy in Toronto, he's like, if I mail you down some of them, if I mail you 200 or 300, can you sign 100 of them and you keep the rest? It's like, so he can at least make up the difference that he spent. That's like, sure. So these people at the Jaws Club, when I did the interview, I said, I'll mail you up like 4 photos and sign them. So I was like, to the Amity Jaws group from the dead Alex Kintner, I was eating my Jaws back in the 70s. Have a Jaws someday. And then I also send them one of the T-shirts and then one of the checks from Europe that I don't even cash them from Europe because I'll bring them to the shows and say, hey, I'll sign the back of the check for $3. And people will give you, it's unreal what they'll pay for those things. Mm-hmm. But then they were like, so I send them up. And then after the whole interview, she calls me the next day, any chance you have any more of those pictures? And it's like, yeah, if you want, you could either get the name and address, I'll sign them and just tell them that the shows are $40. For $20 they can have them because I have a bunch of them. And she just sent me down a list with like 100 names of, people all over the place. It's like, okay, I'll sign some pictures, I guess.
No.
But and I'm awesome. For like 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, Phil, we lost your audio.
Oh, are you looking forward to getting back to conventions when this pandemic is over?
Tell you the truth, I am. I hid from those for years, and then when they finally, these people, she's really sweet. She'd come down every year, come on, and then finally, the first one, like in New York, they're like, they pick you up at the airport, they drive you to some limo picks, they're holding your name up, and they're like, you can eat and drink all you want, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could eat and drink all. I go, so what happens if I have too many? They're like, you can't, it won't be that bad. I go, well, I won't get out of hand. And she says, after the whole thing, one day she's showing me some Richard Dreyfuss signings. And she goes, this is him in the beginning. And you read his name because you sign a bunch of extras and they go sell them. And so she was showing me Richard Dreyfuss. And the first one, you could read his name real well. And then I guess he would have so many drinks at the end, you couldn't even read his name. Just on and
Randall Dawson, what?
do you ever have to sign with the Friday the 13th girls because your last name's Voorhees? Do they ever say, hey, let's do something together when you see them in public?
Well, I get that all the time. It's like people like someone in the restaurant wants to talk to you, and they ask for a Voorhees. I go, wait, and I go to the table. I go, is this about Jaws or Friday the 13th? Most of them are, Jaws, but it's funny, the Voorhees. That's not a common name. But some of those signings, like there was one out in Worcester the day after Columbus Day 2 years ago because they canceled last year. And it was so windy down here on Martha's Vineyard, Amity Island. The boats weren't running, and I had to be up there on Columbus Day weekend. The signing there was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Rock and Shock.
And I was like, oh my God. The first day, the boats weren't running. I didn't make it Thursday. Friday, I didn't make it. The boats didn't run. And then I called these people. It's like, so do you still want me to come up and try to come tomorrow? Because I already missed one day. I feel bad. But the boats, she's like, yes, there's been so many people waiting. And she goes, we've been telling them you've been trying to swim off Amity with a raft and the wind keeps blowing you back on the beach. And so the next day, Saturday, I finally got off the island, drove out to Worcester. I got there a little late, and there were a bunch of people waiting in line. The first guy comes up. Oh, my God, finally you're here. I'm going, yeah, I'm sorry. I got on the first boat, and it takes a little time. No, we got here yesterday, and you weren't here. I go, yeah, it was really windy. The boats didn't run. I go, well, at least you got to stay an extra day. He goes, no, our hotel room, they couldn't keep us another night, so we had to sleep in the car. It's like,
oh, wow.
That's awesome.
We were all there. I didn't get a chance to get over and see you. I was very disappointed.
Well, that was the nice one because that one had that little tag, and you go watch some of those bands, and you go backstage, you could eat, drink, and be merry. And I'm not young, so that one band, they're all spraying. The band sprays soda out in the crowd. It's like, what the hell is this? They're all spraying soda. It's like, I'm glad I'm not too close to the stage, but they, there you just show your pass, and any bar you go into, it's like eat, drink, and be merry, and they just bill whoever. It's like, so it pays to die.
Well, we definitely hope to see you at a con soon. I know we haven't heard any dates Rhode Island just set their dates
in November. Yeah,
November now. Yeah.
But also like Super Mega Fest is a great one.
Well, there's one down in Tennessee, I think I'm booked with, and there's one out in California this year. Because the people I do it with, I always tell them I'll do like 4 a year.
Yeah.
And so basically it's up in the air if they get canceled or not this year, but it's fun. They fly you over to Germany, or the one in England would have been fun because it would be 3 or 4 people at that one. But that's just from Jaws. You have other movies there too, but it's fun doing those because you eat, drink, and be merry and sign a bunch of photos and and party afterwards. So
easy money, right?
Pays to die.
That's so awesome. That's that was one of those things that one of my regrets of not being able to get over, because that one in Worcester, that Rock and Shock one, that Saturday, the reason I couldn't get over is I had a friend's wedding, and it's like usually it takes a lot to get my wife and I out of Rock and Shock, but he officiated our wedding, so it's like, yeah, we kind of have to go to this one. So I did not get a chance to get over and see you. I was very, very, very bummed by that because you were one of the folks that I was most looking forward to meeting.
Well, those are fun. It's funny. You sit down and they have like 20 different photos on the table, and over. Oh, I want this one, and the most popular ones when the blood's flying up in the air. It's like,
oh yeah,
you want one of me before I die, and some of the people that have them on the walls on some of the bars around here, one is just me swimming out. So you just see my ass, and a little kid is like, God, why all these people have just a 12-year-old ass going out on a raft here?
See, that's why the blood one's more popular. It's like, hey, why do you have a signed picture of a 12-year-old boy on your wall? It's not what you think.
Well,
those shorts that I was wearing, that was a big thing. Like, I never knew until like one of the signings that you're doing it with these guys that made the movie, some of them. And you know how I had the red shorts on?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, everyone from, Spielberg, Benchley, they were all the big thing about this whole movie. If you look, you don't see anyone wearing red in it. No red shirts, no red pants, no red anything. They didn't want anything red in being worn. And because of the blood in the movie, they didn't want it for some reason. And I was the only one that had something red on because they couldn't find any other shorts, I guess they were saying. So, for some 12-year-old kid, that here's the shorts you're going to wear. They're red, even though we don't want red in the movie.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The only one who wears red.
Yes, and I end up turning red all over the place, covered in blood.
Sure.
So I just real quick, I saw a story online. So this is one picture, and a matter of fact, I think it's the only picture they have of the alternate death scene that was on the cutting room floor, and supposedly it was much more gruesome. Did you see any of that being filmed?
Oh yeah, and it was funny because that little dummy on it kind of looked a little like me, but when they were doing it, that shark is so big. We used to climb all over that thing, but that was a big mechanical thing, and that clamped down hard. And when they did that scene, the pieces of that mannequin were flying up in the air, legs and arms, and the head. And back in the 70s, when this movie came out, real horror movies then were King Kong, Godzilla, and you never saw a kid ever get. And they said this is hardcore. We can't. Nowadays they would show that in a second, but they said that's too gory for having some kid. That's why they did it where you see the blood flying up and me going up and down. But
see, that's the picture I would want signed. Like that one right there.
That's a hot one.
That's a badass picture.
Yeah, it is.
It's in black and white. That's one of the a lot of them they just put together. They're not real photos. Some of the sharks coming up and grabbing you on them and. But that one was a real one because that's a mannequin that looks a little like me.
Well, from far enough away, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lots of little things like that. Where they kept all this stuff, you used to just go check it out all the time. But that shark that they drove up from Florida, you could smell that thing all over the place.
Oh.
I know we are running on time. Patrick or Phil, I wanted to make sure you guys got your questions in.
I just wanted one more question for Jeff. Jeff, what are the name of some of your plates and sandwiches and whatnot at your restaurant? Do you play up the Jaws connection?
Oh, they do like an Alex Kintner burger. It's like a fish sandwich with red tomato. It's just so it looks more like blood and stuff, but it's mainly, you don't even have to do that. People now with the internet, it's unreal. Like yesterday, probably like 3 or 4 tables, even this time of the year. Oh, the Kintner boy, you were in the movie. It's people, and I'm in that movie for like 2 seconds. But you get some people that are Jaws fanatics. They'll come in from all over the place. Some people bring in things that the kids made that looks like Jaws, and they just want things signed. And like this one Harley Davidson rider that came in a couple summers ago, the waiter's like, oh, he wants to show you something. This big Harley guy in a leather jacket. He takes the jacket off, pulls his sleeve up, and the whole Jaws logo is tattooed on his arm. It looked really good. And then Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Schneider, and then down near the elbow, Jeff Voorhees. It's like, oh, my name's on this guy's elbow. That's interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you've pretty much answered a lot of the questions, but I think the last thing I would want to ask is, did this, filming this movie give you an irrational fear of sharks, or give you, maybe the opposite, make you, kind of get into the shark conservation thing, or do you have no strong feelings one way or the other?
Well, I run some dogs down the beach every day, and I got a Bernese Mountain Dog will bark and lose her mind anytime she sees a seal. And when you see the seals around here, that's why down on the Cape, you see a lot of great white sightings, and that's because of the seals and stuff. But the sharks itself, I'm not too nervous about. Filming it when you see that you're climbing all over some machine, you're lying on top of some machine that blows blood up. people are like, were you afraid of the shark? It's like, no, I was afraid of freezing my 12-year-old ass off. That's about it. But, you know, besides that, like my brother, they got a house on the other side of the island. They got a little boat, and his 3 kids, for years, it's like a 15-minute boat ride from one side of the island to the other, and you anchor right at that bridge where the shark swims through. And that's right where I was eating. And you say, okay, let's go jump off the bridge. You swim ashore, you anchor, swim ashore, jump off the bridge a couple times and go back. And they finally let him watch the movie when he was like 10 or something. And the year he saw the movie, it's like, come on, let's go jump off the bridge. He goes, no, I'm not going in there. It's like, why not? He goes, this is where you were eaten. I'm like, what are you talking? He goes, this is where you got eaten by the shark. I'm not going in that way. He wouldn't go in the water for like, I'm going, it's a movie. I'm still alive. It's like, it took him like a year or 2 before he would jump back.
It's amazing.
Yeah. See, you know, we were talking prior to having you on, you know, ever since seeing that, I do not go in salt water at all. So yeah, Jaws had that effect on me. I'll only go swimming in fresh water.
Well, Leo, the attack that from 1916 that Jaws is based on was actually a series of bull sharks that got some people up the river because they can go into fresh water.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Brackish water, fresh water. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say there, Jeff?
No, I was going to say, be careful they go up the river a little bit. You might get it there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm right on Thames River. I don't even go because that connects right to the sound.
Leo showers with a harpoon. That's how nervous he is.
Well, it's funny. Some of those cameos, it'd be like, oh, my husband, he goes out on the boat all the time, and he's just so afraid of sharks. Kind of tell him that it's not going to happen to him. And it's like, oh, my God. It's like people are paranoid after they watch that movie. It's like, I won't go swimming now. It's like, oh, because I died? It's all a movie.
Oh yeah, Ben mentions in pools, but he only swims in pools. But you know, being a kid after watching that movie, even in a pool, you have that irrational fear in the back of your mind. It's just
you're just a wimp, Leo.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, like I spent so many summers again, you know, in Orleans at Nauset Beach and Skakit Beach, like essentially, down the street from where Jaws was filmed, and I had seen the movie a bunch of times. I had seen all the sequels. I had read the books. I just, I'm a big fan of sharks.
I think Jeff summed it up perfectly. The water is just too cold in New England, so it's just not worth going into. It's not the sharks, believe me.
And that's part of it.
Yeah, breathing your little ass off in that water.
Yeah, your ass if you're lucky.
Yeah, I'll go in there. I'll go in the water, but I'm not going in there.
Well played.
$40 a day, fine. I went in there as a kid, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to thank everybody for watching. Jeff does have a heart out. He does have the Wharf Pub to open up, and definitely check out the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Definitely, if you're a Jaws fan like us, definitely check out his stuff. He does have a cameo, and it's super reasonably priced. But like he said, a lot of them he does right on the beach where he was eating. Also, check out the Wharf Pub, and definitely, if you're looking for like a shirt, sign and stuff like that, definitely reach out to him. We love supporting artists and actors and everybody. And Jeff, where do you like people interacting with you on social media?
Oh, they go Facebook, or they just call the Wharf, or anyway. A lot of people just come down the island and they just come right in, but it's crazy. Some people with the internet now, they can get a hold of you anywhere you are. It's I had a guy from New York. My neighbor is like, "There's been the New York Police Department's been in front of your house the last couple of days," and I've been working. I'm a workaholic in the summer, and I'm looking over. It's like finally he's at my house. It's like I'm thinking, is this about the flag I stole when I was in college? And he had like 20 different photos he wanted me to sign. It's like, on the internet. It's like, oh my God. It's like, but no, it's just funny. You got people come down the island just for that. They do Jaws tours, and that movie's 45 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it'd be amazing just to do a road. Ben says we should do a road trip to the Vineyard at the pub. That'd be awesome. Yeah, do just so many iconic things there.
Well, I just sent you a friend request on Facebook, so I mean, feel free to deny it, but I love Jaws more than I love most things. So.
So Phil, where do you like people interacting with you, sir?
Okay, darkdiscussions.com is the website where it's all news network for a genre, so podcasts, columns, reviews, and so forth. And you can find us on Facebook at Dark Discussions Podcast Facebook group.
Awesome. Patsy?
Basically, any of the Facebook groups for the podcasts that I do, Shark Bites, Throwdown Thursday, or the Loudest Sports Show. Loudest Sports Show, we were able to raise $500 to give to pediatric cancer, to help the Strong-Willed Sports Memorabilia and More group. We're going to be running another contest on either Sunday or Monday to help a friend of ours who is looking to open a horror-themed restaurant in Salem. So we're going to be raffling off an NFL jersey. So on all that money is going right to her. So, we're always trying to do good stuff for folks.
Very cool. And for me, just Google Leo Pond. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but more importantly, follow these awesome people. Check out Jeffrey's cameo, and definitely check out the Wharf Pub. And we're coming to tourist season, so now is the time to go before everything gets crazy. It's just if a lot of people getting their vaccines. I actually have mine scheduled for in a couple weeks, so it's
excellent.
Road trips are coming up soon. But also I run a little thing called the Dorkening Podcast Network. Head on over to thedorkening.com to find over 30 shows on the network. Want to thank everybody for watching. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Everyone have a jawsome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Have a jawsome day.
Awesome.